Everybody. Thanks for tuning in to Peeling Back the Label. Today we have a very special guest. We have best-selling author, the USA Today best-selling author, and internationally, Kimberly Belle. And today we're going to talk about The Paris Widow and a couple of her other books too. We'll probably sneak in there too. But today our main goal is to talk about her best-selling book, The Paris Widow, and what made her decide to write it, what inspired her, maybe some of the behind the scenes that she might be able to tell us what happened in Paris and whatnot. So let's get her going, and we'll talk today. We'll see. Ooh.
Hello.
Hi, Kimberly. I can't see you
You
though. Huh?
can't see me?
No, but we'll just go with it. I'll just gonna have. I mean, when when
Well,
I post it, it'll show both of us. Why it's not showing both of us, I have no idea why. Hi, 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 Paulette. All these nice people are joining in, but that's okay. I won't be able to see your beautiful face, but can you see me?
I can. I see the split screen.
Okay, whatever. We'll make it work. But I feel bad that I can't see you because it's just more interactive when I can actually see your
Yeah.
face. But that's okay. We're gonna go with it because that's what live is all about. Just
Love.
going with it. Okay.
Perfect.
That's why I do live because it's good to be uncomfortable. So anyway, thank you so much for joining in.
Of
We're gonna
course.
talk about your book. I kind of introduced yourself already. I don't know if you heard,
I
but
did.
oh, okay. Paul, I could see everybody.
Yeah.
Hello. If
And
anybody has any questions, feel free to put them in the comments, and I'll try to have Kimberly answer them as we go along. All right, so let's talk about your book, The Paris Widow. I mean, I did the audio book, which I loved, and I mean, it goes like, from 0 to 60 right out of the
it
gate.
starts with a bang, literally.
Yeah, you just like wham, bam, let's go. So, I mean, anybody who would are thinking about reading this book, I mean, you just read the first part and you'll be hooked, and you're going to want to read the whole thing. That's how much I enjoyed the book, and I'm sure obviously everybody else did too, whoever read the book, because you're a bestseller, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Get USA Today out of the gate, which was exciting.
I love it. It's well deserved, well deserved. So, tell us a little bit about, like, for the people who didn't get a chance to read it, tell us a little bit about, like, just a quick, like, summary about the book, and then we'll, go into all that other stuff. But just so, like, kind of set the stage for everybody so they kind of know what we're talking about.
Right. Okay. So the book, The Paris Widow, is about a woman named Stella, and she is with her husband, Adam, in Paris. They're on the last day of like a 3-week whirlwind vacation through some of her favorite spots in Europe. And they are sitting down for their last lunch. They've just finished up. They're going back to the hotel to gather up their things and fly back to the States. And Adam forgets his sunglasses at the restaurant, so he runs back. She goes to the hotel, and boom, there's an explosion, and her husband is like has disappeared in the like basically the hole where the restaurant used to be. So she's, trying to figure out like what happened, and hoping that she'll somehow find him when the police come to her and they say that not only is he one of the victims of the explosion, but he was also the target.
Very, very nice. And then it just blows up from there.
Yeah. Yeah. She finds out all sorts of things that she didn't know and maybe didn't want to know about her husband.
Yes, all the secrets between the two of them. I
Right.
don't know who had the worst secret, but you have to read the book, people, to find out.
Right.
Um, okay, so tell us about, like, what inspired you to write the book. Like, okay, the setting was in Paris. The main premise was, Adam, and his like main secrets and stuff, and what he was, what is his real job
Mhm. Yeah.
type of thing.
Right.
What made you, like, decide to write about that?
Well, Well, a couple of things. So if you've read any of my other books, and I have like, this was, I think, my ninth solo novel. So I have eight that came before it. And they all kind of center around, except for maybe one, they all kind of center around a husband and wife. And the secrets between them, that's kind of a theme that I keep coming back to. Secrets, forgiveness, like, where's your line in the sand? What will you forgive up to what point? And what beyond that is unforgivable in a marriage. So that's just a common theme in the stories that I write. But I've been really wanting to take one of my stories international for a long time now. Like for books and books and books, I keep pitching it to my editor, and they're like, will you write the Southern so well? And, they wanted to really kind of keep me in my lane. And they finally, I think I wore them down.
That's what you got to do. The squeaky wheel gets the oil.
I know. I finally wore them down. They were like, okay, fine. And actually, when I pitched this story, it was set in Amsterdam, where I live part time. My husband and I spend about 50% of the year there, half the year. And they were like, well, we really like the premise, but could you set it in, a city that's maybe a little more, well, no, not that Amsterdam's not well known. They kept calling it niche. I'm like, really? Is Amsterdam
Yeah, I
niche?
think
But
Paris is having a moment, you know?
Paris, and it was a good call for them because this is a really big plot, like you said. I mean, there's a lot going on, and you need a city that's not going to that can hold its own with that kind of plot. That's not going to either overtake the story or that, is maybe not that you have to do a little more describing of the city because everybody kind of knows what Paris looks like, even if you've never been.
Yeah.
So it was a good call for them, and it was my first international book. My next one is set in Amsterdam,
Oh,
so
that's going to be
I did
nice.
win
We'll
that
talk about
argument
that
too.
later.
But I won that
I
argument too.
love it.
But yeah, so they asked me to set it in Paris, and other than that, yeah, the rest of the plot kind of stayed the same.
Well, okay, I guess I probably should explain further. What I was getting out is what made you decide like Adam's job? Like
Yeah.
where did that idea come from, you know?
When I first pitched the story, the my editor was like, we love the premise, but Adams, I think I had him in finance, in international finance, and they were a little worried that that might be too technical, too abstract. Finance can be complicated. I'm not great at math. I was happy to change it. So I started doing a little, and they wanted something very tangible. So I
Okay.
started thinking about what it could be, and when I landed on the antique market or the antique sale, market, I don't remember how exactly I got there, but as soon as I found that, I was like, this is it. Because there are so many, like a lot of the things that are in this book, the shenanigans that happen, the blood antiquities, they call them blood antiquities, because people have literally spilled blood to, steal these artifacts from often war torn countries, from temples, from churches, from, historical sites, to carry them over international borders and sell them to the highest bidder. And often these bidders are legitimate buyers, like galleries and museums and collectors who, are willing to maybe look the other way to get this, important artifact, and maybe, kind of pretend like they don't really know how it got to the West, you know and the criminals that carried it across the borders.
Now you have a character in the book who is kind of like, um an art I forgot what you call it, but like some kind of an art detective, is it?
Art detective, and she calls herself, or she is called, the Indiana Jones of the art world,
Yeah, I mean,
because
the
she
book, I say, I like the book is like a grown-up version of
yeah.
Indiana Jones. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And that's kind of her thing is she goes and she finds these artifacts that have disappeared or that people have stolen. She tracks them down, sometimes uses, things that are maybe not quite so legal herself to get them back and return them to the rightful owners. And she was based on a real life man. He's a
Oh,
Dutch man living in Amsterdam, and he's the one who's the real Indiana Jones of the art world because a lot of the artifacts in this book, including the Oscar Wilde ring, were real artifacts that he tracked down and
wow.
returned
Did you
to the
get to meet
family.
that gentleman?
I did not meet him in person, but we corresponded a lot. Yeah.
Oh, that was great. See,
Yeah.
that's what's so nice about being an author. You know, you have that in where you could really, talk to real important people and find out
Right.
about their lives.
Yeah.
You know, the normal Joe can't just, oh,
Yeah.
tell me what you do for a living.
Yeah. And
So that's
it's
what I love
fun.
about authors.
Yeah, it's fun too. And people typically, 9 times out of 10, love to talk to authors. They're like, "Oh, this is cool. You're writing a book." And, they're happy to provide information and tell you things that you might not find on the internet or just in normal
Yeah, I love
research.
that. It's like the inside information, the stuff that you know, nobody knows about, but they're going to tell
Right.
you. I love
Exactly.
that.
Yeah.
So who do you think was like your favorite character in the book? Or maybe how about your favorite character and then the one that you really didn't like so much?
Well, I don't want to give anything away with the one I didn't like so much. So I might skip that question because there's
Okay.
one that, but I don't want to give it away. When I say his or her name, you'll know.
Okay.
But I do have a favorite. Actually, I have two favorites. It would be hard to choose between them. Sully was definitely one that I mean, I had him in my outline and in my pitch to my editor, but I don't think I realized how important he was going to be in Stella's
Hmm.
life until I started writing him. And he was such a fun character. He's like someone for Stella's past who, she calls up when she's in trouble because she knows that he can get her out of it. Also, probably not always with legal means, but he's very wealthy, very well connected, and knows how to get her out of whatever trouble she's found herself in.
Hmm.
But he also has a bodyguard who works for him, and I really loved him too. And I just blanked on his name.
Yeah, I agree. I did.
Yeah,
They added a fun little aspect to the story, and you kind of need those characters.
yeah, yeah.
I
Yeah, and you can have fun with characters like that in a way that you can't if they're a main character. Side characters, you can get them to be a little quirkier, a little, maybe a little more morally gray in areas
I like
that you
that
can't
morally
do
gray.
with a main character. So,
Hmm.
yeah, I
Hmm.
had fun with them.
When you were writing your book, Kimberly, did you like have like a theme song about your book in your head or anything? Like what you when you're writing it and maybe you're thinking of a song. Did you have like anything like you thought about or a particular song or you know what I
Not,
mean?
yeah, not really, because I like complete silence when I write. So I'm not thinking songs. I'm not thinking any noises. I've got like my headphones on and nobody's talking.
I
So
gotcha.
no noise at all.
No noise. Okay. That's fair enough. Okay, so speaking of writing, like when you were writing this book, did you like have the ending already there, or did you have the middle there, or the beginning there? Like what was your first, when you first started writing it, what part were you writing first?
I wrote it pretty much as, as you read it, as the readers read it. And I write from an outline. So I had pretty much everything already hammered out. I mean, things, shift and change a little as you're writing. I mean, my outlines are typically very plot heavy, and I have an idea of my characters going in, but I don't really get to know them until I start writing them.
Hmm.
So that sometimes changes the plot a little and moves stuff around. But I knew my ending. I knew all the major plot twists. The only thing that it's not that big of a change, but I think 7 maybe flashback chapters of the weeks prior to Paris, ending their vacation, ending in Paris. So in different spots in Europe, we go to Luxembourg, we go to Amsterdam, we go to Malta, all these different spots.
Right.
And originally, those were going to be from Stella's point of view. And I was on, I think, my third one when I was like, these aren't right. We need to hear from Adam. I was having trouble like getting a hold of him, of his character, and kind of understanding what he was doing. And I was like, we need to hear from him and hear like kind of his panic at Stella finding these things out, his desperation to kind
Hmm.
of keep his sins hidden from her, to keep her safe. So I went back and I rewrote those from his point of view, and the story just kind of fell together after that.
Yeah. No, I definitely I like the flashback scenes, and it's always nice to get that background information, and of course, what was Adam thinking in his head?
Yeah, yeah. And I
I
knew
love
those
that.
scenes were important to give us like some kind of clue or answer to the present day story. So I knew exactly where they needed to come and what needed to be revealed in them. I just needed to, switch it around from his point of view instead of hers.
I love that. Now you're pretty much sticking with the thriller. That's your niche. That's what you like.
Yeah, yeah. I do a couple of co-written books where they're still thrillers. They're the Young Rich Widow series. Um, and I write these together with 3 other authors, and they're set in the 80s. So officially, I'm sorry to say they're historicals, historical thrillers. But they're set in the 80s. They're a lot more fun, funny, campy. We get to have fun with our characters and with the plot in ways that, you can't do when they're set in the modern times. So I guess those stray a little bit. They'll feel very different from my solo
Hmm.
books, but yeah, they're still thrillers
So
ultimately.
what do you guys do like as a group of authors? Do you like, lock yourselves in a cabin and write together, or how does that work?
No, we each write separately. So we do get together to hammer out the plot and to do a little research. We were together last month, I guess. Well, actually, it was August. We were together in August to, like look around, do some research, talk through our plot. We hammered out the whole outline, and now we started writing, and we basically each write a chapter a week. And we round robin them, but we have standing Zooms that last, sometimes just a couple hours, sometimes a whole day, where we talk about the chapters that we just turned in, because we always turn them in, then we have a day to read, and then we have our Zoom. So we talk about the chapters that are there. We talk about, if there are any changes to the outline coming. We talk about the next round of chapters, and we say, okay, you pick up the story here, you carry it to here, and these are the things that have to happen in your chapter. And then I pick up the story and I carry it to here, so then we kind of get our marching orders, give each other our marching orders, and then we go back to our separate corners and write. Yeah.
That is so cool. Now, okay, so all these thriller books, what do you like to read? What genres, what's on your night table right now? What kind of genres do you like to read when you have the so-called free
Yes.
time?
So-called free time. What's that? No, I do read a lot in my genre. Part of it is because I am co-host of the Killer Author Club, which is an author interview
Okay.
series. So we always read the books of the authors that are coming on. So those are the two actually on my nightstand, are my next two guests. So we have Patricia Cornwell and Jeffrey Deaver and Isabella Maldonado. This one was a Amazon first release,
Oh, how nice.
Fatal
Okay.
Intrusion. And then Patricia Cornwell, this is her next installment in the Case Scarpetta
Oh, okay.
series, which is about to become a TV, I believe a TV show.
Ooh.
So those are on my nightstand. I do read a lot of romance, women's fiction as well, but my reading stack is pretty thriller and suspense heavy, just because those are the kind of books that I really like to read too.
Hmm. Hmm. And you
So it doesn't feel like
can
work.
put romance in there. I mean,
Yeah.
it could be a thriller romance,
Yeah.
and
Yeah, exactly. And occasionally I do want to slow down and just read something like a palate cleanser, something totally different.
exactly.
I
Hmm.
like a historical now and then. It's hard sometimes to slow my brain down. I almost have to be on vacation for those. Um, like really slow my brain down for, to slow down and enjoy the actual story and not think who's going to get murdered, you know, which one's the bad guy.
Yeah, yeah. So, you had mentioned that one of the authors with the TV premise. Do you think that The Paris Widow might be able to, turn into a series or
Yeah,
anything?
well, I've
Because
sold
I
my
definitely think it
rights.
could.
Yeah, well, hopefully, right? I sold my rights to a company called Little Bell, and their production company working with some big names out in Hollywood. So hopefully, I mean, cross everything. You sell your rights and you kind of just bless it and have to bless it and let it go. So hopefully
Yeah.
it'll all shake out. They have to jump through a million hoops before it's that far
Yes.
and get
It takes a
everybody in
long,
line.
yeah, it takes a long time
It
for it to
does.
happen. I know. It's just, you just give it to them on a wing and a prayer, and
Yeah,
you just hope one day you get that phone call, right?
that's exactly right. Exactly right. So cross everything, and I, like I said, I bless it and let it go, and I try to be patient and let them do their thing.
Absolutely. Well, we're going to be wrapping this up, but I really want you to tell everybody again where you could be reached, and then mention your podcast again, so people could
Yeah.
check you out as well on the Thriller podcast.
Yeah, so I'm on all the socials. You can find all the links on KimberlyBelleBooks.com. And you can also click over there. There's a tab that's called Killer Author Club, and that is the author interview series I was talking about. And it's also a podcast. New ones go up every Friday. So check us out on your favorite podcasting app. We have some great guests. We've had some great guests, and they're all there.
I love that. So it's like, I love when you hear authors supporting authors,
Yeah.
and that's what you're doing.
Yeah.
You're helping those authors get their book out and get noticed. I love
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. And it's a lot of fun too. We get to fangirl over authors that, yeah, that we've been reading and loving for ages. So it's a lot of fun.
I love that. Well, thank you so much for coming on, Kimberly. Now,
Yeah.
do you have like a book in the works so I can like have you on again?
Yeah. So
Oh,
I have number 3 in the Young Rich Widows series. I've just started writing, but number 2, Desperate Deadly Widows, comes out in print and ebook in April. And then my next solo book is called The Expat Affair. I don't have any sort of cover or anything to show you, but it
wow,
comes
you
out
got a
in
lot going
June.
on.
I know. I know.
So that keeps
So
you busy and out of trouble, right?
exactly. Well, semi out of trouble.
Well, thank you so much for coming on, Kimberly, and I'll definitely have you on again soon.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.